Hello Uplanders, this video is about why collections are overhyped. I'm going to explain to you why you need to avoid minting collection properties during a new city release, but before I do that, I want to preface that with saying that there is nothing wrong with going after collection properties. They can be quite valuable and important properties within the game, and there are many reasons why your strategy might be around minting only collection properties. I think if that strategy works for you, then that's fantastic. But I want to provide you with some insight around why collection properties might not be the best investment for you. In my personal strategy, I don't actively seek out collection properties. There are times when I do end up getting them, but that is just a bonus for me. Lastly, I'm not providing any financial advice. I'm simply providing another outlook and another viewpoint, with a lot of people being very adamant around solely going after minting collection properties. I want to provide another viewpoint and offer up some different strategies of how you can start building your own presence within the metaverse. The first thing that you need to know about collections is that they give you a boost when you collect them. So in this Detroit collection, all I have to do is own 3 properties in Detroit. And if I place them into this collection, I will receive a 1.25 multiplier on the earnings that I have on these properties. That's the most basic collection, but I want to show you some of these more difficult ones to complete. For example, Midtown. This is a limited collection, and you have to own 2 properties in the Midtown neighborhood, and I get a 1.84 multiplier on those properties. So let's zoom in here and actually take a look at one of those properties that I have in this collection, and you can see that I was able to mint this. It cost me 30,000 UPIX. And if we click on more and the boosted earnings, we can see how much earnings we will be receiving on the property based on the collection that it is in. This property is earning me 690 UPIX each month just by owning it and holding it in that collection. If I did not have this property in any collection, I would be earning 367 UPIX each month, which is 1.84 times less than the 690. So that multiplier of 1.84 can be very compelling, but when you look at the actual numbers and you compare 690 UPIX each month, which is essentially 69 cents, compare that to 36 cents, that's not such a large bonus. Obviously, the larger the properties that you own, the more boosted earnings you will get, and the more it makes it worthwhile holding on to that properly for the long term. If you did not follow any of these calculations or you want to learn more about how to calculate any of these numbers here you see in this property card, take a look at the video in the upper right hand corner. If you are looking to mint this property for the sole purpose of holding on to it for the extra boosted earnings, when you look at the actual amount of additional UPIX you will be earning each month, it may not make sense to hold it long term. If you look at some of the prices of how much these properties are selling for, it might make more sense for you to resell that property in the short term instead of earning that extra 30 cents over time. We can also expect that in the future, the monthly earnings on each property as a base will decrease again. At the time of creating this video in July 2022, each property is earning 14.7% of its mint value. As Upland continues to grow, as more users come in, as more functionality arises, and the economy strengthens, we can expect the monthly earnings to decrease. So you might want to take that into consideration when minting not only collection properties, but any property for that matter. Don't forget that during a new city release, the collections are not known. Everything is just pure speculation. Now, if you do have a history of studying Upland, there are some collections that make more sense than others. If you are looking to go after these additional bonuses, don't forget that you do need multiple properties in that same collection in order to get those bonuses. So sometimes if there is an area that is in very high demand, something like Las Vegas Boulevard, which was quite obvious that it would have been a collection. To get several properties on that exact same street would have been quite difficult in order to mint them. So if you are trying to buy these properties also on the secondary market, you can expect there to be a big markup on that. And to utilize those boosted earnings will take you a lot longer until you receive a return on your investment, since at least one of those properties you bought at a higher markup value. When you start to look at some of these more rare collections, and here we have rare collections in Los Angeles, Melrose Avenue, Mulholland Drive, Hollywood Boulevard, some of these are very famous streets and well known. These are typically always in high demand. If you do a very quick Google search of popular streets in Los Angeles or whatever city is coming next in Upland, there are a lot of people who will go and specifically target those streets, thinking that they will become rare collections. The rarity of the collection basically means that the quantity of the properties that meet that collection criteria are fewer and fewer as the collections become more rare. Here we see this rare collection is already a 2.32 multiplier. So that is a very nice multiplier if you're able to get a very large property. If you only spent 3 or 4,000 UPIX on a property, that 2 times boost is very nice, but again, based on the previous point, that doesn't add up to a lot of UPIX. Minting rare and ultra rare collection properties are extremely competitive. It's not all luck. There is a lot of skill and experience needed in order to be able to mint some properties that you want. From my personal experience, there was one time that I was trying to mint a specific property, which was not part of a collection, and it took me 40 minutes to mint it. I ended up in succeeding to mint that property, but there was someone half a second behind me who immediately minted the neighboring property next to me. If this is one of your first city releases, for that reason, because you don't have enough experience in minting new cities, that you avoid these ultra rare and rare collection properties because they will be extremely competitive. You can learn more about the new city release process in the video in the upper right hand corner. A big part of Upland is creating a community and being a part of one. During new city releases, there are groups of people who target specific neighborhoods in order to mint them out, try and gain majority ownership of that entire neighborhood or a specific part of it in order to create a node or a racetrack, which is another type of community where all these people with like-minded goals try to develop that neighborhood or that area to develop businesses in the future and provide other services to the community and their stakeholders. Historically, this is a lot more difficult to do with collection neighborhoods. With a lot of speculation around the neighborhoods, there are lots of people who do try and mint these properties for a quick flip and a resale to make a lot of money, or just to hold on to them for the boosted earnings. It's a lot more difficult to harness the community and get everyone together that owns properties in that neighborhood to focus on really developing that neighborhood. These popular nodes or communities can often drive up the property prices in those neighborhoods, even beyond that of some of these collection properties. If you want to learn more about some of these racetracks or nodes that exist within Upland, take a look at the description below where you can see the Upland Guide maps. I'm here on the website upxland.me and I'm taking a look at the city of Manhattan, and I'm going to search for the cheapest properties which are on sale in UPX. And right now we can see the cheapest one is 110,000 UPX. Now if I scroll down just a little bit, I can see here Harlem, and Harlem is a limited collection property. And we can see here that the lowest prices in Harlem is 127,000 UPX, which is one of the cheapest properties that you can actually get in Manhattan. So this is another reason that maybe going after some of these limited or less exclusive collections might not necessarily bring you the best value over time. Where we can see here in all of Manhattan, if you didn't mint any of these properties, buying into some of these neighborhoods specifically for the collection boosts doesn't make sense when you're looking at some of these markups of thousands of percents. I don't think that people are going to be going out and specifically buying these Harlem properties in order to create the collection and to get these boosts. Yes, they are nice, but when you look at the cost of the property compared to the amount of boosted earnings that you're going to earn, it doesn't make sense to necessarily buy that property. This goes to show that the value of being part of a community and working towards a common goal can provide more value than some of these collection and boosted properties. It's also important to remember that in the future, there will be new collections that are spawned based on neighborhood development and other things that will be coming into Upland. So it's not just the value that you can get from being part of this community, but you could potentially also spawn another collection just based on the fact that you're developing your community together with other people. Now back to Los Angeles here, some of these standard collections, which are the most basic ones, these ones were not minted out at the very beginning. Not a lot of people thought that these would actually be collection properties. We see here that the neighborhood of Venice, which is something that is extremely popular, that one a lot of people did predict that it would be a collection property, but people did not necessarily expect for it to be a standard collection and only have a 1.4 times multiplier on it. A lot of these neighborhoods were not minted out initially prior to the reveal of the collection properties 1 week after the city release itself. Again, for these properties, if you're minting them in order to have the bonuses and you want to hold it long term, knowing that it's possible that the yields will decrease on them, then that's great. But if you are minting these for the purpose of selling them quickly, a lot of these neighborhoods still have properties available to mint quite a while after the collections have been revealed. It's possible that since a lot of these collection properties are not super attractive and you have lots of opportunities to try and mint these even after the fact, it makes these collection properties to have a lot less value, especially when you see a lot of people creating nodes and racetracks and developing other areas of the city. It might make more sense to be a part of a node like I had mentioned previously than going after some of these basic standard collections. Again, if you had found a property that you really wanted to mint, that you were going for that and it happened to be in a collection, then that's fantastic. That's just a bonus for you. But specifically targeting some of these neighborhoods, maybe like Venice, where you thought that it would be a limited or higher collection, and you find out that it's only a standard one, might decrease the value of that property a little bit. Lastly, there are lots of different strategies of how to play. There are many different properties that you can find all around the map that can have value. Even if you don't think they have value, you can grab a few friends, create a community, and bring value to somewhere where there isn't value. Some of these neighborhoods that are left last to mint out, these are some things that people are able to rally around and say, hey, let's mint out this neighborhood, let's create a cool community around something that nobody initially wanted. I implore you to take a more active role in the metaverse, find some of these communities, get more involved in developing a city, developing a neighborhood, find something that resonates with you. There really is something for everyone in the metaverse. The metaverse is a lot more than speculating on and minting collection properties and selling them for a quick profit. That's a great strategy if it's for you, but I implore you to look at some of these other opportunities that the metaverse presents. Of course, let me know what you guys think. Leave any comments. Let me know how minting collections fits into your overall strategy. And don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel.